Okay, so this is the third part of our multiple choice test. This is for learning target, where we solve quadratic equations. So we learned a few different ways to do that. You have that little cheat sheet we gave you, the half sheet, so you may also use that. So for questions 10 through 15, solve the following quadratic equations using any method you learned. Remember, some of the questions have a suggested method. However, you may still use the one of your choice. The suggested method just makes it a little bit easier. However, you can again do it however you want. So for number 10, it says x squared plus x equals 42. And it's giving you a hint to use the factor method. So just remember, if you choose to factor this one, you will want to move this 42 to the other side and set it equal to 0. So that way it looks more like a traditional factoring problem. Number 11, I gave you a hint here. We have the quantity x minus 4 squared equals 121. And the hint here is the square roots. Because it's in that vertex form, it makes it a little bit easier if you use the square root method, where you can get rid of that squared by doing the square root and then finding the two solutions. Again, you can use any form you want. 12, x squared plus 10x equals negative 89. Here's another hint, completing the square. That one is possible with this. However, if you want to, you can always move that minus 89 to the other side, and you can factor, or you can use the quadratic method as well. It's totally up to you. Just again, pay attention with the hints. We're telling you that for sure those would be possible, and probably the easiest ones, but it's whatever you want. All right, let's go to 13. Quadratic formula. So this means it's not going to work with the factoring. We gave you one where the numbers are pretty small, and so it's doable. And just be careful here. When you use that formula, make sure you're using the whole entire thing. And then, so it's 4x squared plus 3x plus 2 equals 0. And remember, just use the formula and then see how you get it. You don't have to totally give two answers for this one. This one can actually just be the number plus or minus, and we can look at it from there. All right, number 14. This one, there is no hint. However, my hint to you would be, since this is not in standard form, you wouldn't factor it. It would make it very difficult to factor. Either completing the square, or the square roots, or your quadratic formula. You can do it either way. You just have to, if you do the quadratic formula or the factoring, you want to make sure that you are going to, first you have to put it in standard form. So it's whatever way you want here. But again, look at your little cheat sheet and try to see what problem looks just like this. That would be the one we suggest. All right, 15, here we go with a story problem. So it says, an athlete throws a ball from first base to second base with no 1 second to catch the ball. I'm sorry, with no one on second to catch the ball. So the parabolic curve is modeled by, and then here's our little quadratic formula. So it's going to be a parabola if you were to draw it. But again, we're kind of focusing on this. We have negative 16t squared plus 27t plus 5.5. And so to the nearest tenth of a second, how long until the ball hits the ground? So you are solving for the t. And again, since this is in standard form, You could use the quadratic method, that's the formula. You could also try to factor it. Those would be two things. And then remember, we want a positive answer. So when you come up with your two answers, make sure that you are using the positive answer. All right, let's go to the last learning target. I'm going to put these together on the same video. This is our very last one where we looked at evaluating graphs of quadratic functions. So this was our last target. When you look at this, we determine the number and the type of solutions of this quadratic equation. Hopefully you remember, in order to do that, to find the type of solutions and numbers, hint, hint, we use that discriminant. Right? Hopefully you know what that is. I'm not going to give you any more hints, but using this, you should be able to pick out your A, B, and C, and then use that discriminant part, and that will tell you two solutions, one real solution, two complex solutions, or no solutions. Okay, this is all about the discriminant. Okay, 17, a parabola passes through the point 0, 0, and 6, 0. Okay, here's our points. If the turning point of the parabola is, we'll call that T, so the turning point is H, which would be some kind of number, comma, 4. Remember that 4 is positive. Which statement must be true? And we'll use the graphs below as a sketch to see what would be true about this. Is it H would equal 2? Would it be 2 if the parabola passes through 1, 2, that it must also pass through 5, 2? Is it 3? Point T is the highest point of the parabola. And this is the mixture. So you're not choosing 1, 2, or 3. You're choosing which ones down here that go with it. Again, you can sketch this if you want to. You've got 2 points. You also should know when this H here, if we have a positive 4, what that means. And so is it going to be statement 2 only? Is it going to be statement 1 and 3 only? Is it going to be statement 1 and 2 only? Or would it be D, statement 2 and 3 only? And then let's look at 18. Sophia and her friends are kicking a soccer ball on the ground back and forth. The graph below models the height of the ball after y time in seconds, which would be x. After how many seconds was the ball 6 feet in the air? So this is where you're going to have to look at if there's multiple solutions, you're just going to grid in one of them if there's multiple. Okay? And 19. Write an equation in standard form for the parabola with a focus, remember focus, of 0, -7. And the the directrix of +7. So again, the focus, and then we have here the directrix. How would we write that? So is it x equals 128 y squared? Is it y equals 128 x squared? Is it y equals -128 x squared? Or is it x equals -128 y squared? So hopefully at least you should know if it starts with the x or the y. That will give you a 50-50. And then from there you should know if this focus here has got a negative here and then we have a positive here. Hopefully that helps narrow it down as well. So that is the end of the multiple choice. Again, it was chunked into 3 videos just so you can focus on a target at a time.